Well, hello, hello, hello. I am Pastor Rhonda, founder of Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry, and your host for Celebrate Life today. I thank you for joining us. I have with me Dr. Corliss Bennett. Hi, Corliss.
Hello, good morning. Trying
So,
to get that your commercial went off too fast. I was trying to put on some lips right quick.
girl, you don't need all that. You looking good anyhow.
Thank you.
So I am glad to have you here with us today. But as we get started, let me just tell folks a little bit about Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry, which is a ministry that I began, guess about 19 years ago, because my cancer journey actually began on 9/11, which
Hmm.
means that this year I will be a 20-year inflammatory breast cancer
Yes,
stage 3B survivor.
yes, yes. Wow.
And, the doctors are amazed because when I was diagnosed inflammatory breast cancer, only 3% of the people got it.
Mm.
And then the majority of them did not see 5 years. So I am happy to be here serving the Lord and doing his work and helping other people along their cancer journey. And Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry, we help all cancer types, men, women, boys, and girls. We do a monthly support group meeting, home and hospital visitation, treatment buddies, telephone buddies, hospice support. And we even have a Zoom exercise class that's held on Mondays and Wednesdays. And we have a live
Ooh.
line dance class that is held on Sundays and Tuesdays at 1 o'clock at Shepherd's Manor. And Shepherd's Manor is a day stay for cancer survivors and caregivers who just need a peaceful place to be and to just relax and chill and just forget about everything. If you just want to watch television, listen to music, or if you just want to be, Shepherd's Manor is the place for you.
Where is that?
That is actually in Inglewood. And for those that will reach out to me, I can give them the address for that because it is actually out of my home.
Oh, right. We don't want everybody to know where you live.
There we go. There we go. All the right people. Yay. But nonetheless, that's who Celebrate Life is. That's some of the things that we do. And we highlight health education and cancer survivor stories. And today we are here with Dr. Corliss, who is going to talk about staying motivated in the midst of it all. So, Dr. Corliss, come on, tell us all about it because you have been through a thing or two.
That's just a thing or two. You're right about that. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at this time when you watch this episode. First of all, I'm honored to be a part of this, be on your show. We are kindred spirits. You have this online. I have a online radio show, so I might have to bring you on my show, Mindful Mondays. So we'll get with that later. But wow. I live in Inglewood, California, and as you can hear, and I live up the street from a fire station. So that's a daily. I'm like, there's a lot of folks getting hurt every day.
Yeah.
And I get that at least once or twice a day. So I'm like, and there it is, almost to schedule. Anyway, so the cancer that I was diagnosed with in March of 2008 is multiple myeloma.
Mhm.
Multiple myeloma is a cancer of the bone marrow. So it's not like something where you can take off, cut off a breast or, ovaries or whatever. This affects my immune system and it goes throughout my whole body. So it's in my whole blood system. What happened was, to make the long story short, let me start by saying this. I have a doctor for every body part, period. Wow. And all my doctors are doctors of color. If not black, if they're not black, they're people of color. And my parents are from Jackson, Mississippi. And during that time, they didn't have as well as healthcare as we do today. But once they moved to California and once she had me, my mom, I was at the doctor all the time because if I coughed wrong, I was the guinea pig child, the oldest. If I coughed wrong, we were in emergency. If I sneezed the wrong way, I was in emergency. It was to the point where the security guards knew her name. And
Oh,
the, and the nurses at the counter were like, "What's wrong with her now, Miss Bennett?" Well, I don't know. She just started coughing, and I just didn't, So I was definitely. So my mom tells me that story. So when diagnosed with this, I knew that I'm one, like I said, has a doctor for every thing. So I go to the doctor regularly, and I still got cancer. So I want to
mhm.
just start off with that piece first, because cancer does not discriminate.
Amen.
It does not care who you are, how old you are, what you did, how you did it, when you did it. It does not discriminate. So if I found out I had cancer and I go to the doctor regularly,
Right.
that part. What are you doing to make sure that you are healthy? We have had this pandemic for the last year and month or so, and it has slowed a lot of us down, like me, because I was just right running, but never stopped going to the doctor. And a lot of us meaning people of color, basically African American / Black, we won't go to the doctor, especially men. And it's just like I get it, the Tuskegee incident, but this is 2021, and we need to be able to catch things early. And the reason why I was able to catch my cancer was because I had fallen in
Mhm.
October of '07, and was like, okay, but I had been working out, so I felt this sharp pain, like somebody was taking a big butcher knife and going through my chest like this and out the back. It was just like the weirdest pain. But see, when I have something ain't right with me, I'm making an appointment. And so they were like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "My back is really sore." So I told my first doctor, I said, "Something's going on." He said, "Well, have you been working out? Well, you probably pulled a muscle, doing whatever." And I was like, "Okay." It started to go away. But when I fell in October of '07, and to the point to up until March of '08, when I was I don't know why I want to say diagnosed, I was limping, and it just got worse. And I would go back. Oh, here's some Vicodin. Go back. Oh, here's some codeine. I was like, y'all are getting on my nerves. Why won't you do it in my arc? Something is wrong. If it's one thing to spring something, but to be hurting from October to March. So long story short,
Mhm.
ended up getting an MRI. They kept me for a week and was like, "Oh, and by the way, you have multiple myeloma." And I'm like, okay. So again, it's in your bloodstream, in your marrow, that goes throughout your whole system. And so I had my first bone marrow transplant in September of 2008. I was my own donor. Everybody's like, huh? It's
Okay.
called an autologous stem cell transplant. Say that 40 times. And I gave my cells. So I went the Labor Day weekend of September of 2008. In August, I gave my cells. And so I was sitting in a chair. I had needles in both arms. And so they were taking out, draining, taking out the marrow, going through some machine to separate the blood from the marrow. And then the blood was coming back on my right arm. It was something else. I tell you, it was just like, okay. Because I'd never given blood before. So I was just like, this is
Mhm.
something else. And you learn so much about yourself and the whole medical profession when you're going through something like this. So anyway, because I was my own donor, they took enough for 2 transplants. So you can have your own cells twice. Thank God I had that second set, because I came back in 2019. So in 2008, I had the first transplant. I was out of school from
Do the
September.
cells last that long?
They freeze them
Okay. With your name on it.
with my name.
Okay.
So they gave my first, what set. I was fine for 8 years, no problems. If you didn't look at, I'd have to tell you I had cancer. You would never know. And then I moved up north into a position where I didn't know that it was a hostile environment per se, in which I held things in. And then when I get home, I'd be so tired. And what I didn't know, and then remembered that my oncologist said, stay away from undue stress. Well, unfortunately, I thought I was handling it, trying to, take it with a smile. And when I get home, I'd be like, these folks. And basically, the normal range is from 3 to 19. I was at 50. Yeah. Now, when I was first diagnosed, I was at 1,200 and something. So after the
Mhm.
transplant, it had dropped it, and I was under in normal range for 8 years. Got up there dealing with some undesirable folk, and unfortunately ended up having to have a chemo shot once a week. For a year, it only went down to 30. They were like, Corliss, we have to be more aggressive. So then I had to have IV, 2-day IV chemo. So take about an hour each day. So by the time you get up, set up, all that. So it was basically 3 hours out of my day, Tuesdays and Wednesdays for then another about six or 7 months. And then finally they said, okay, we got it under control. You need another transplant. I was like, huh?
So did you have to spend the night on Wednesday, Tuesday,
No,
and Wednesday?
I just go to the chemo where they have all the different, everybody's in their chairs getting their own different medicine. Just the what do you call it? Not the chemo lab, but I can't think of the name of it, but basically everybody's in a chair.
The oncology room?
Yeah, whatever you want to call that, the oncology room or whatever. And so I would just have my laptop and I'd be doing work, and they hook you up, the IV, and I'm just doing my thing, and I got my headphones on. I'm working. I'm using my FMLA hours, but I'm also, I'm working. So anyway, having said that, then when they got got my numbers down to a normal range, he was like, okay, you need another transplant. And I was like, why? She said, because we can't keep you on chemo like this to keep your numbers down. You're going to have to, thank you, the infusion room. Somebody just popped up and said, I could not remember right. So anyway, long story short, I just had my second bone marrow transplant, March of 2019. So I am officially 2 years and almost 2 months old as far as my immune system. And if you followed me on Facebook, see, the first time when I went in, I was like, I'm not doing no Facebook. That's just another password. I did not know how the far reach that Facebook gives. So this time around, I actually was every day, because I would tell people, look, you guys, I'm coming home. I'm going to have this transplant, blah, blah, blah. And, when I said all that, when I tell you I got 500 plus comments, I'm like reading these things. I'm sitting here reading them like in tears, for real. And it's like, I'm one of these people that I give of myself. I'm a college administrator. I was a middle school teacher, college administrator. I worked at USC, the University of Southern California, for 20 years. The latter 17, I was the director of the Black Cultural Center. So I took care of the peoples and anybody else that walked through those doors. I was also a lecturer on campus for 5 years as well. So I really, a lot of people, they know me at USC, and that's because of my giving spirit. I try to help as many students, no matter what color you are, creed, stripe, polka dot, whatever. So and I don't do it so that you can do it back to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when I saw the onpour of all these comments and people texting me and calling me, I mean, I was just in tears. I was like, oh my God, students that, it seemed like they had an attitude towards me and just didn't speak, were putting prayers online and things.
Oh.
So I basically definitely did a day-by-day report. Day 1, okay, y'all, I'm going in, right? Okay, day 2, and I'm laying in bed and I got my little hospital robe on and I'm glammed up, right? One of the days, when you talk about in the midst of it all, because you can't let cancer do you. You have to do it. Okay, we have church. All right.
All right now.
So and that's been my whole mantra. I mean, even when I found out, I announced it to people. A lot of people that have cancer, what kills them the most, or what really depresses them and eventually kills them, is them holding it in. Now, I'm already a talkative person, so there was no way I could have held it in the sense of not being able to share, not being able to share what was going on with me. Because if I don't smile, people automatically know. If I people like, okay, what happened? Because I smile a lot, I'm always, pleasant. So if somebody pissed me off, I just shut it down, because my mama said, if you don't have nothing nice to say,
don't say nothing at all.
But sometimes I'll be in meetings like, right? So anyway, I just was like, this is what's going on. At the end of the year banquet, I explained it to my students. Everybody's teared up in the audience. And I'm like, I just need y'all, just please stay in touch with me. Don't leave me out there. Please call. If I tell you to come visit, please visit. Please just don't. I said, because I don't want to go through this alone. I can fight with you. So I always tell folks, cancer, that big C, nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
It's like you have to share, because you never know who else had. When I started sharing with people, it's like, my mama had that. Oh, and I would get phone calls because somebody, sorry, that's my computer. Sometimes I'll get a phone call out the blue from a student. There was one student that lived in Atlanta. She was like, Corliss, how you doing? This so and so. Hey, girl, how you doing? How's your mama doing? How you doing? Okay, look, what is the name of your cancer? And I said, multiple myeloma. Oh my God, my aunt's daughter just got diagnosed. Do you mind talking to her? I said, I'm not calling anyone first. Give them my number. If they want to talk, call me. Now, if they miss me and I call you back, that's different. But I'm not going to call you and say, look, your cousin said
Right.
saying cancer, so she told me to talk to you. Okay, no, that's not gonna work.
And that's so important because people think that just because they tell you it's okay, there's still a HIPAA law we have to abide by.
A little bit, but
and that person might not be ready to talk to everybody.
Exactly. So I tell people, if you want me to talk, they call first, and we'll talk, and then we'll go from there. So I can't even tell you how many people over how many years is it? 12 years. 18, 19, 20, what's that, 13 years? 13, wow.
That's 13
years. Wow. How many people have called me not only about multiple myeloma, but cancer in general, because they've seen me on Facebook, they've seen me smiling, they see me sharing my story, sharing my testimony. I've been at the doctor's office, and one of the nurses, I come in, it's so funny. I'm jumping all over this story, but this is all a part of staying motivated in the midst of it all. So when I come into my appointment at City of Hope once a month, the lady comes in, and sit in the station, and she weighs you, does the blood pressure, and then she brings you in, and there's a big nurses station, and all the waiting rooms. So I come in just like this. Hey, y'all. All the nurses in sync and harmony. Hey, girl, it's hilarious. And so some of the doctors are like, okay, first of all, she's loud. Number two, why is everybody like co-signing with her, right?
Like, who is she?
Right. So there's a new nurse, and she looked. I said, "How you doing, girl? You don't know me, but you will." And from now on, I see her, and I'll be like, "Hey, y'all," and she'd be like, "Hey," and then I'll go into my room, come back out. I said, "Okay, y'all, I'm gonna see y'all next month. Y'all take care." They'd be like, "Okay, bye," all together, and that's just how I've been. Just because first of all, they don't get to smile. They always are dealing with complaints and things like that. I just feel like I'm a happy person. I'm just going to give you an ounce of happiness, if only for 5 seconds of your life. And that's when I come in, they be like, "Has it been a month already?" I'm like, "Yep." So, that's just how I am. So anyway, I say that to say that is how I deal and stay motivated, because I'm always just a motivator. I do that. So anyway, long story short, I found out I had to have another transplant. That was March 19th, 2019. And so what you need to understand about me is that my immune system is the equivalent of a 2-year-old, 2-month baby.
Wow.
So I had to go through and take all them vaccinations all over again as an adult. Wow. And as a kid, you don't remember that stuff. Back in March 2016, I went to visit my actual bone marrow cancer doctor, Kaiser, because after you do the bone marrow, then you go back to your oncologist, right? So I went to see him, and he was just like, "Oh my God, you look great. I can't believe," I was like, well, okay, maybe people are moping around too much. They need to be more happy. And he was calling in other doctors from there. "Look at my patient. Look at my patient. She had her transplant in 2008. It's too sad. Look." And everybody's just like, "Oh," and I was like, "Okay, hey, okay." I feel like a movie star. So I'm doing my appointment. He's like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "Oh, you need your vaccinations. I'll be back." I said, "Oh, really? How many?" She was like, "Oh, 5." And I was like, "Okay." Now I'm thinking homegirl's gonna put it in a cocktail, right? Put them all in one vial and just one shot. This heifer walked up in there. She had that little silver plate, 5 needles. And I looked at her, looked at that plate. I was like, "Oh, you're kidding, right?" She had that plate just like this. She said, "Okay, Miss Bennett." I said, no. This is what I need. This is what I need. I need you to give me a lollipop and a sticker for each.
I know that's right, for each one.
And she looked at me and I said, "I ain't playing with you, girl." She's like, "You're serious?" I said, put that over there on the counter. I ain't gonna touch it. Trust me. Go get me 5. I need 5 lollipops. I need new stickers. I'll wait. And I mean, by the time she got back, at least 5 nurses had followed her back to my room, because they couldn't believe that it was for a grown-ass woman. Sorry for the French there. For a grown woman, right? And they came in there. They're just like, I was like, oh, hey, y'all, did y'all help me find my candy? They was like, you really wanted that? I said, look, if I got to go through this, what happened?
Nope, keep going.
Okay, the screen went away for some reason. I'm not
Don't
sure.
worry about it. I can still see.
Okay, as long as you can. Okay, there we go. I don't know what. Oh, that's my mama calling. That's why. Okay. So they just cracking up, right? So I roll up my sleeve. They're like, okay, which arm is your dominant arm? I said the right one. She said, oh, we'll put the more painful ones in your left. I'm like, really? Or did you really have to tell me that? Like, when you're a kid, you laying on the bed, and it's over with. So I'm like, huh? Okay, you all right? Yep, I'm okay. So it's not so much the needles, y'all. It's that medicine when it goes in, it be burning. I was like, oh, okay. They said, you all right? Oh yeah, I'm good. So so this is and this is the only way that I know how to cope with anything. It's just through my laughter, through my personality, and being motivated. I mean, if I'm not motivated, if I don't love myself, how do I expect you to love me, right? If I'm not happy, how I expect you to be happy,
right,
with me, right? So basically, so she gave me the 5, and it was, I took my lollipops and my stickers, and I rolled out. I know it's funny. Oh, when I tell people that, they be like, Corliss, you don't have no sense. I'm like, I was very serious. If y'all was gonna hit me up 5 times. So since then, when I've been to oncologist this year, 20, it was like 7 and then 5. So basically, I have all my vaccinations like you would your child that is 2 years and 2 months old. So having said that, coronavirus.
right.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just stay in the house, and I just go to the grocery store. I'm not in no big crowds or nothing. I'm always masked up. I'm a diva, so I got matching masks for my outfits. Don't trip, right? I'm gonna be right. But she was like, you need to take this vaccination, and I'm like, they did it too quick for me, Pastor. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was 3 white boys watching the Super Bowl, right? And one of the white boys, it was his house, right? And he'd be like, oh man, during halftime, I want y'all to see what I did with this vaccination I came up with. And then they all come to the kitchen and try this, or put some cinnamon in it, put some nutmeg. Bam! The coronavirus vaccination. That's how I feel like it was made. I told my oncologist, she's like, you have no sense. I said, I'm telling you, that's how I felt. How it came too quick. I said, I'm gonna wait till all y'all do it, and then about a year, I'm gonna get up on there. So she just told me 2 months ago, Corliss, when it gets down to 50 and up, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and do that. And I'm like, dang. So I took my first shot on April 19th. I'll do my second one, Pfizer, on the 17th of this month. So week after next, soon. Yeah. So yeah. Unfortunately, so I just grit and bear it and be done with it. But yeah, 2 weeks from today. So, my thing is, again, I've done vaccinations. I don't have a problem with it. A lot of people die from the flu each year, but they don't talk about that much because this is a worldwide pandemic. That's why you're hearing about when the J&J one had the clots and all of that. So it's more, and of course, social media is just blowing it out the water even more. So I was like, okay, Lord, you made doctors, you made the 3 white boys on the couch, make it happen, right?
So do you do stand up?
I do.
Somebody is asking that question right now.
You know what? Everybody's like, can I just be your manager? This is natural. Anytime I do keynotes, it's just hard. I can do about 5 minutes serious, and then for some reason something comes out. It's just, but thank you. We can talk. Hit me on email. You can make some money off of me. Let's do it.
Okay.
But seriously though, I it's the only way I know how to be, Rhonda. It really is. If I was moping too much, so going back to those folks that keep it in, it makes you more depressed because you don't have nobody to talk to because you don't want anybody to know you have cancer. And that is the biggest mistake you will ever have. The more you share, the more you get it off your chest, the more people will talk with you about it. Your nurses, your doctors, the social workers, therapists, all of that. And I utilize everything that I tell my students about going to the counseling center for whatever they have issues or problems with. I do it now. I have 2 counseling. I have 2 sets of therapists right now. I lost my dad last March, and I was in autopilot, helping my mom, making sure everything was okay. And then all of a sudden, girl, in September, I was driving, and all of a sudden I thought I could, my mind was saying I was breathing like this, but I wasn't breathing like that. Like I'm like, it was crazy. I'm on the freeway on my way to my aquafit class, that's water aerobics. And I was just like, and all of a sudden I'm just streaming, and I'm just like, what is going on? I still didn't even put it together as grieving. That's how out of pocket I was. But what had happened was at 10 o'clock, I had a meeting that morning, and that person didn't know my dad died. I told the story. The 11 o'clock person didn't know. And so here we are at 12. I had, I guess, triggered myself on my way, and it just hit me. And when I got there and I parked, and I was just like, what is happening? And I was like, oh, okay. So I said, okay, let me go ahead and get help. So I'm a part of a grief group on Mondays at 6 o'clock happen to be through USC. And then I have an independent therapist on Thursdays at 5. And I cannot stress enough, and this is the reason why I created my radio show, Mindful Mondays. I knew what I was going through with the death of my dad. And then just recently, an uncle and a best uncle and his sister and aunt within a week. On top of all this COVID and hearing my students calling me, oh, my auntie so-and-so, did you hear so-and-so's mom died? Once or twice a week, I'm getting something about somebody, passing from COVID. And so that's why I'm like, I'm there for whomever, and it just, I knew that I needed that to be able to help others. And I cannot stress enough, people, do not do this thing alone. You can't. Okay. Yes, you can pray. Yes, you can thank God. But God made what is called a degree in counseling. God made social workers. God made psychiatrists. God made sociologists, therapists. They learn that skill so that they can help us. So I'm good at what I do. I counsel, but I'm not a licensed counselor. But what over the years, you give advice or whatever, just like you, Pastor Rhonda. You've been a preacher. You've been, you're helping people. But
we know when we have reached our limit and when to pass them over.
And it's like, okay, I'm not a specialist in this, but this is my opinion on this, babe. And I'm going to walk you to the counseling center so that we can get you some help. So, when we're in those type of positions where we're giving the advice or helping people through things, one of the main things that we do at the end is say, now you need to go see someone licensed, because I can't tell you which their theory relates to that. I can't, right. And people don't understand. And I think it's because when you're dealing with counseling and therapy, the joke about, you sit on the TV shows where the person is sitting on a couch like this and the counselor's got here's her notebook. Tell me about the so-and-so. Oh, so what about your mom? What about your dad? And it's kind of laughable. Well, trust me, it's not quite like that unless you want to lay down on the couch. But what you need to know, and I'm saying this for some reason, somebody obviously needs to hear this. What you need to know is they help you come up with your own solution.
Right.
And that's the piece that people don't get. They think it's like you come in and then, they just tell you what to do. No, they say, okay, what's going on? Well, have you thought about this? Well, what would you do if this? And so your mind starts to work, and you start to then come up with some solutions. And when you share, well, what if I do this? And so they said, that sounds good. Let's try that. I'll see you next week, and so, or in 2 weeks, depending on your sessions. So I can't stress enough that how I've been staying motivated is being around good people, sharing my story, being able to talk about it now on an online radio show in the sense of the show's not about me. It's Mindful Mondays. It's about being mindful, health and wellness. And, I've had some therapists on there. One of my sorority sisters, Miyoshi Dorsey, was on the show for 3 shows. I had one show and she did the next 3. I'm on week 6 today. And it was how to manage stress in perilous times. And so she had 7 steps to managing stress. And so we only got through 3 the first show. I said, that's okay. You can come back next week. She said, oh, I can do that? I said, it's my show.
Amen.
So I said, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do 4 and 5 next week. So we have a lot of time to talk about it. And then the week after that, we'll do 6 and 7. And my followers, my students, and it's like, oh my God. And it's things as simple as just learn how to say no. Now, you've heard people say that before, but when you're listening in the context of she's helping me get through stress and perilous times, it's almost like you're hearing it for the first time. almost. It's like, exercise, that helps release stress. Removing negative people from your life. Like when I used to do presentations, I say, I'm allergic to negative people.
Negative
If I
people.
walk up on you, start sneezing, you already know.
No,
So,
okay.
so that's the thing. So, it's just, I don't know any other way to be. I've always been kind of this, outspoken, silly, I guess funny person, because people gravitate to me because I attract the ones that are super, uber, uber quiet. Like my best friend is the opposite of me. They're like, how are y'all friends? And I said, well, she calms me down and I pump her up, and it's that, yin and yang, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how the yin and yang is going to look like that. So, but basically after that transplant, the first time I was so like, it's one of those things, y'all, that you don't know you like, you have cancer, you've been diagnosed, but honey, it ain't until you lose your hair. That first time around, and after I had the transplant was done in the first days. So the first day they kill off all the cells. This is all via IV. I had a Hickman catheter, which is a mechanism that's connected to your main artery, and the tube came out about here, and everything is hooked up to, we call it the Christmas tree, that thing that has all the bottles and stuff, all the IV.
Yeah. The Christmas tree.
That's what somebody calls it. So I'm not getting poked while I'm in the hospital. They're just unscrewing it, putting it on, putting it on. Right.
Makes it a whole lot easier.
Right. So the first day killed all of the that Monday, which was Labor Day, killed all my cells. The next day, which was September 2nd, 2008, they gave me my cells back that they had harvested from me. And let me tell you, Pastor Rhonda, I could barely walk. I was on a cane. I mean, I had a mass on my lower back, lesions up my spine, and on my skull. So they couldn't even put me in a stage because I had a little bit of all the stages. So it's like, you can have stage 4. No, she has stage 3. No, she got 1. They were like, okay, she just got multiple myeloma. And we can't even put it there. But I was to the point, it would just hurt to try to get, I couldn't get up off this couch. It was just any couch. It just, oh my God, the pain was unreal. Can I tell you, that next day when they gave me my cells back, the doctor said, okay, in about 14 days, you're going to lose your hair. Just want to warn you. I was like, oh, okay. That day, I had to get up to use the restroom, and I always hit the call button, so that the nurse would be there just in case I fall, because it would hurt so much to walk. I got out the bed, and they said, you okay? And I was like, nah. I said, She said, what's wrong? I said, I'm not hurting. I said, hold on, let me sit back down. I'm tripping. I'm dreaming. And I got back up and I said, oh my God. This was like within 20 minutes of getting my cells. I was like, oh my God, for real. I was like, oh my God, I stood up. I was so used to limping and, favoring whatever side you favor, whatever. And I was like, oh my God. And I said, okay. She said, you okay? I said, okay, let me walk in here to the bathroom. I used the bathroom, came out, had the walker. And I was like, hold on. I said, I'm going to just walk around the room. I was like, I don't feel anything. I said, is it really that instant? It really was that instant. Wow. Them new cells came in there, girl, and I was like, to God be the glory, for real, for real.
Now, did it look like blood?
Yeah, it looks like blood. It's kind of peakish. Yes, it does.
So there's really life in the blood.
Right. Oh, ha! Stop. Girl, you're going to make me have an A&B selection. Quick, please. Nothing but the blood. Nothing but the blood.
Oh, amen.
I'm just saying. When I say amazing, y'all, amazing. So I said all that to say that sometimes the nurses will pull me and say, can you talk to this patient? Because she's getting ready to go into the hospital. I go in the room her, I'm like, look. Once you go to the hospital piece, when they put that Hickman in, that's the only pain you're going to feel. I said, it's just a matter of laying there and relaxing, watching TV, watching they every morning I would get there 7 a.m. They would go through, do all my tests, give me my meds or whatever. And it was crazy. It was crazy. And I always tell people, I said, it doesn't hurt. I said, trust me, whatever's hurting now, it will be gone within 30 minutes of your transplant. That's how deep it was. And so all I can say is I stay motivated when I motivate people. And I want to motivate you today. If you're really listening, I dare you to schedule a physical. I dare you women to get a PAP. I dare you to uh, go to the eye doctor, check your eyes. I dare you to go to the dentist, because see, what happens is people don't realize, but you can get a gum disease that can affect your whole body, your system. Anytime there is an infection somewhere and you let it go because you just like, oh, I'm going to go to the doctor, I don't trust them. Oh, okay. Because when you go to the doctor, they're going to be putting a toe tag.
Okay.
I'm just saying, and I tell people, I'm like,
and it's real, and folks say that stuff all the time. And you know, most of them say it out of habit because they heard somebody else say it.
Generational curses. I trust me, I get it with the Tuskegee thing. That was cold-blooded how they did us back when they did us. That was cold-blooded. But you want to stay alive today, you need to go to the doctor. Now, I know right now folks are, you know, I had a doctor's appointment with a new doctor via Zoom. I was like, okay, you're not gonna, how you gonna listen to my heart via Zoom? But okay. But because they can look at my record and see by the blood work they take, okay, well, you still good, you know. But I'm telling you, you just don't understand the importance. And women that don't go and get their PAP will end up with some kind of ovarian cancer or something. That is the purpose of the PAP. Please, I can't stress enough how important it is. And because of that, hold on, my mom, I just want to make sure because I'm taking care of my mom and she just texts. Okay, sorry.
All right.
On Zoom, holler in a minute. Okay. So I just can't stress enough. My motivation is making sure that I'm feeling good so that I can make others feel good. That's really the bottom line. And having gone through this process, like I said, that's what I was talking about. When my hair fell out, you know, I was after the transplant was the first couple of days. The rest of the time is waiting for your cells to build up so that you can go home. And when that man told me, I know I'm skipping around, follow me, folks. That man said 14 days. On the 14th day, I went like this and came back and my hand was full of hair and I screamed. That's when I knew I had cancer. I was like, oh my God. So they shaved my head and I felt so ashamed, y'all, because I'm like, oh my God. So, you know, I have wigs now. I was wearing wigs up until this last transplant since 2008. 2008. And I just felt like, I don't know. I just didn't think I just being bald was just such a, it was like, hey, that person has cancer, you know, or you see somebody in a scarf, you know, it's probably because they have cancer. But let me tell you something. This time around is a totally different story. Being able to do this chronological thing, day 14, day 13. Hey, y'all, here I am. Hey, y'all, here I am. So on like the 5th day, I'm in the hospital, right? Makeup done like this, right? I'm laying up in the bed. And these little ladies came from the wellness center, you know, to try to pep up the patients, even put a little makeup on them and a little lip gloss, you know. They walked in, they was like, oh, I said, oh, hi, how are you? Well, you're doing good. I said, yeah, I am. Hi. She was like, oh my God. She's like, well, we came in to kind of help, you know, hook you up and glam you up. She's like, we've never seen anybody be in a hospital glammed up. I said, girl, but that's because I'm a diva. Come on now. There's no law that said you got to be looking pitiful when you're in a hospital.
Now. Come on.
Do you see it on the board? You must look pitiful to sleep here. No. So they were like, we have never seen you. You just have a positive attitude. I was like, I'm just like, but we're not gonna do anything because your makeup is fine. But here, we're gonna give you some gloss, or we're gonna give you these colors too. And they just loaded me up with all this cute little makeup and stuff. I was like, thank you. They were like, oh my God, you made our day. I was like, yeah. I said, y'all come back and see me next time. I think I'm still here for another week or whatever. So when it was time for my hair to fall out, it was just itching. And I was like, oh, it's time. So they cut it. And I, you know, showed the picture, lady, you know, I got a picture. I know it was almost time with them shaving it. And then, sorry about that, with them shaving it. And then I looked and I showed it on Facebook and everybody was like, oh my God, Corliss, you look so good. Your head, you got the head for it. And I was like, really? Really? I was like, I don't know, y'all. And then let me tell you, Pastor Rhonda, the 2 words that stopped me from wearing a wig. I have not put on a wig since my discharge on April 2nd, 2019. Do you want to know those 2 words?
Yes.
Wakanda forever. Somebody said that in their comments, and I was like, there it is. And I have not put on a wig since. Because them strong warrior women, protected Wakanda, right? If you saw Black Panther, them women was tight. Them bald heads, they walked in like what? They had T'Challa,
I got this.
they were the warrior women. And I
Yeah.
was like, they had on red. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta. It all came together for me. And I was like, I will never wear a wig again. And so you're like, oh, you should get it short and have it faded. I'm like, I don't want to look like a boy. Like, this is almost getting too long. I like it shaved because I like it to match my forehead, you know? My mama said I shine like new money. That's why I'm sorry, y'all. When I get excited, I get hot flashes. I get so excited. Okay, but this is how I embrace it. And so I just, this guy, I'm in Walmart, walks up to me. He was like, sister girl, I'm not trying to hit on you or nothing, but you are wearing that bald head. I see the confidence in you. I was like, oh, wow. Well, thank you. So she said, what made you cut it short? I said, well, actually, it was because I have cancer and I just never grew it back. He was like, you are a strong woman. Thank God for you. God bless you. And walked away. I was like, dang, he was kind of fine. He didn't want my number. Anyway.
Well, speaking of finding numbers, somebody asked a little earlier, do you have children?
To answer your question, I have never been pregnant. And now nobody that's 54 years old not too many of us can say that. And they'd be like, well, why? I'm like, first of all, I took care of myself. I listened in the sex ed class. Number one, listen. Some people don't do that. So I listen. Number two, I have so many different friends, and I hear the baby mama stories from the men. I hear the baby daddy stories from the women. And I didn't want to be a baby mama, and I didn't want a baby daddy. I wanted a husband and a father, right? And so I do not have any kids. However, I have 40,000 kids. So like I said, I worked at USC for 20 years. And anybody that was there between 1996 and 2016, if they probably know my name, at least from emails, weekly emails that I send out from the Black Cultural Center, or they know me personally and they know me from calling their name at the Black graduation. I just love what I do, and I've just poured that out in my work, in my ministry. My ministry is motivating students to, pre-college students to go into college. I'm a first generation college grad. I'm the only one on both sides of my family that have a doctorate degree. Both me and my sister are first gen. And then there's a couple other cousins that are back in Jackson, Mississippi. My parents are from Jackson, Mississippi. They were married 57 years. When my dad died in March 1st of last year. So I've just always been this way, even as a kid. I mean, I've been in school all my life. My mama said I was too much, running around, singing, pulling on stuff. So I got potty trained super early and was in nursery school like by 1 and a half, 1 and 2 months. It's like, just take her, we'll be back at 5, right? And I was the reverse. I'm just giving you a glimpse of my personality if you haven't figured it out. I was the one that would come in and watching the kids that's crying when they got dropped off. And then they were looking at me because when it was time to me get picked up, that's when I cried. and my mom was like, you would just throw a fit because you wanted to stay and socialize. I've been a social butterfly since day 2. My mama said, the doctor said when I came out of her, they didn't hear me crying. And my mom was like, is she okay? She said, yeah, she okay. She's just looking around. I was like, wow, for real. And I guess, that's, how it is. But, on a serious note, though, I've just, as a first generation college graduate, I went to St. Mary's Academy in Inglewood, which is a college preparatory school, but did not get, what was needed to get that SAT score, And so I was admitted to UC Riverside as a special admit because my scores were so low, but my grades were high. And as an ELP student, and I would not be here today if UC Riverside hadn't admitted me, and then ELP, me and 49 friends had this 6 weeks in the summer right before school started to be able to learn the campus, understand the campus. Because, as a first generation college student, your parents are not, hey, let's go to my school. Let's go to my alma mater. It was just like my dad worked 2 jobs, my mom worked, and that was just the goal. And so my life's goal has been to educate as many parents and students about this college process because it changes every day. It's changed since we've gone through it. It's changing now. They're talking about the UC system. School is looking at fall 22 They're still not going to be requiring the SAT.
Wow.
Now, people are probably going to take it, and so they'll see it, which means they'll probably make their decision kind of sort of based on it, sort of kind of, you know, but they are saying that they are not. And so, you know, now it's like I'm telling people, your writing has to be for real, up to par. Your grades need to be right. You need to be in those AP classes. So, you know, I'm just, as much as, I mean, I be recruiting.
So you're still helping young people with that now?
Yes. So with my company, Bennett Motivational Services, I'm still doing keynotes. I'm doing presentations. I'm doing what I'll talk to anybody who will listen, pretty much. And so it's just because we did not, you know, when I started in admissions back in 92 at Occidental College, was my first job in higher ed. I would come home, I call my mama and say, Mama, did you know that this college fair did this? She was like, nope. And then something else, I was like, Mama, did you know that if you do this as a parent, did this? No. And I was like, see, and you wonder why. So that's why I make it my life's journey to make sure that I am educating. If I have a seminar, anybody that's come, they're leaving out with knowledge on how to play this educational game, because it is not being trickled down to us in the urban areas, right? The inner city, the hood, right? And so you know, I'm speaking today. One of my famous presentations that I'll be doing tomorrow for UC Riverside's early outreach program is This Ain't High School.
Okay.
You know, you can't play them high school games when you get to college. You know, I tell students, you know, usually you're in school and at the end of the thing, they say, okay, tonight for homework, you do blah, blah, blah. In college, they give you a syllabus.
Right. All the homework's in there.
And they're not saying, all right, talk to y'all tomorrow. Make sure you read chapters 4. No, you come in already read the information, because if you get called on and you can't answer, there's a problem. And yeah, so I'm trying to teach students how to approach professors at office hours, because professors love when students come to office hours. I'm trying to tell them about how to study, and and it's really simple. And one of the things that we as a people that we don't do is we don't go to the doctor, we won't get a therapist, and we won't go to tutoring.
Yeah.
What do you
office hours?
That part, the tutoring office hours. What do you think they are doing? Do I need to come closer and tell you who they are? They are not us, and we are not them.
Amen. Amen.
And so, how do you know why do you think the people have an A? Because they go to the tutoring. They make sure they maintain that. So they get that extra help and do that extra studying and go to the TA's offices and the professor's office hours. That's how you keep an A. You can get an A all day long and study good for one test, but can you keep it throughout the whole semester, throughout the whole year, throughout the whole 4 years? See, right. And people don't get that. So again, those types of things, like me doing those presentations, being able to speak to people about cancer and how you can have a positive mindset about it, and how to stay motivated in the midst of it all. That's all I can do. I mean, I'm not saying, do I ever get depressed? Yes, I'm human. Do I cry? Yes, I do. You know, and then when I come out of it, here I am back to normal, right? And it's just important that I can't stress enough mental health. Right now, our mental health, if you never had a therapist before, more than you need one now. Right. Dealing with all this death, COVID death is just all over. I mean, it's slowed up a little bit here in LA County, but that was because we had thousands and thousands down there every day. It was sad to see Governor Newsom get on those and say, we're now up to, you know, or the mayor, talking about like 10, 16, 17,000 in LA County. We're not even talking about the rest of the state.
Right. I
think we might be up to 20. Like, that's ridiculous of how many positive cases and how many people have died, thousands. And it's depressing. And
I was so happy to see today that they said 0 died.
That part. Like, are you kidding? Like, I mean, that's crazy.
We want it to stay like that.
But the only way that's going to happen,
right,
is
we do what we're supposed to do.
Vaccination. I and trust me, I understand, because I went in there reluctantly. I had my camera. I was like, I'm not doing no drive-by fire station. I'm not going to get no vaccination in a Walmart parking lot. I'm going to the City of Hope, and I'm gonna make sure that y'all get Taisha's name. So when you see Taisha put this needle in me and something jump off, I need you to go find her, jump her, and then blow up the hospital. So I'm in the thing over. I got my phone. I said, hold on. I'm here live with, what's your name? She said, Ashley. I said, this is Ashley, y'all. And she's giving me a shot. And if anything go wrong, y'all know what she looked like. She said, no, my name is Amber. My name is Amber. Hilarious, right? So if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see the video. It's hilarious. I was so serious. But what made it so funny was I was just being silly, just being Corliss by saying Taisha. But the girl was black. That's what was so funny. When they said, go to table 2, and I looked and I fell out laughing. And when I got to the table, I said, ma'am, you're not going to understand why I'm laughing. I said, because I've been teasing about this moment, calling you Taisha, and I actually got somebody black. She said, well, I'll do it. I'll be gentle. I was like, okay. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to be able to say it was at 11:59. Her name was Amber, and she's the one that gave me the shot. Go get her, But I'm not looking forward to the second shot. But because I know those side effects are really something. But what I will say this though, Pastor, we can't do this by ourselves. And we gotta, I hate to go on that soapbox, whatever, but we can't do this by ourselves. I also heard that there's people not getting the second shot.
I know.
What? So, so we still can't be safe because I don't know.
But there's still a lot of reasons. It's not just that they're not just deciding.
I know.
Some people can't get there. Some people have other challenges. But for the group that is just deciding not to finish the process, please finish the process.
Because it's like, why get the vaccination? And I'm thinking we're in a vaccination safe situation. And you haven't gotten the second shot, which means you haven't been totally vaccinated. So that, I didn't want to have it. Trust me, I didn't. But I said, okay, Lord, I'm just going to just trust you. That's all you can do. Right.
So this too shall pass.
It really will. So, that's really pretty much, Pastor. I stay motivated and that's all I know how to do really. And is help as many people, talk to as many people as possible. Like I said, somebody asked me a question, somebody wants something, they email me or whatever the case may be. It is just really, it's really about how you feel about yourself. And if you don't have positive feelings about yourself, please go and talk to a therapist so that they can help you bring out those positive feelings that for some reason you put deep down in your soul from whatever might have happened in your life. The Wakanda Forever piece really resonated with me because they were strong. And when I get up every morning and I brush my little hair, put my little makeup on, I'll be like, Wakanda Forever. And that's how you do it. Just work it out. So, yep, I haven't had no hair on since April 2nd, 2019. And let me tell you, honey, it takes off about 45 minutes of your dress time. You hear me? I was like, I put myself, I was like, oh, I'm ready to go, right?
I'm ready. Oh.
So yes, it's a beautiful thing. I have to get used to it at night. I keep beanies in the car because it'd be cold. I'd be like, oh, men deal with that all their life. But yeah, so all I can say, people, is please, I dare you to schedule your physical, schedule your PAP, schedule your prostate checks. I know I know it's uncomfortable, but it's like better than being in a hospital bed.
Right.
Amen. So so I'm really excited. Thank you so much. We were trying to figure out when we met, how we met, before we got on, but it doesn't matter. We know one another. And I just appreciate you taking the time to let me be on your show and be a part of this. I just really appreciate it. And yeah, that's it.
You brought back to my remembrance when I was going to radiation. And radiation, you go every day, Monday through Friday at the same time for 5 to 6 weeks.
Right.
When my first day there, I asked the technician, I said, when is payday? And he said, what? I don't know. Today's my first day. He said, when you come back tomorrow, I'll tell you. I said, okay. So I came back tomorrow. And I said, did you find out when is payday? He said, yeah, it's on the 1st and 15th, but why? And I said, because if I have to come here every day for radiation, then I should get paid too. And I just wanted to know when payday was.
Okay. I
So
was
I
like,
had
"Man,
your
I'm trying
same
to figure
sense
out
of
where you were
humor.
going with that, but okay.
I had your sense of humor going through my journey
You
as
have
well.
to. You
You
have to.
have to find something to laugh at.
Yes. Yes.
As serious as it is, and please don't take it wrong. We're not saying that cancer and experiencing cancer is not a serious thing, but you need to find the humor in it. I even tell people that the reason we have to lose our hair is because God lost count and he had to start over.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, that's
he
deep.
knows every hair on our head. And so with
Oh,
cancer patients, hey, he lost count. He wants to get it right. Good
wow.
for you.
I absolutely wow. Wow. Wow.
Amen.
I love that. He lost count, so he had to start. Wow.
Start over. Amen.
Wow.
Well,
Well, I know as we close, it's you folks can be so evil. I
yes,
had an I'm divorced. I had an ex relative of mine saying, "Why is she so doggone happy? Like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? You mad at me because I'm
because
happy? Don't she have cancer? Why is she so happy and smiling all the time and skipping through life and blah blah blah? She always." And I'm like, and you know what I did? I walked up to her. I said, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful."
amen. Amen. But this has been a marvelous conversation. I'm sure we'll have reason to do this again right here on Celebrate Life today. Um, I know that individuals who have gone through multiple myeloma, that's what we had, right?
Yes.
They're probably very happy to hear your testimony because everything seems to be about breast cancer.
Right.
But we know that there are other cancers, and Celebrate
Absolutely.
Life today will bring about various cancer survivors with various types of cancer. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you bringing your laughter because we know that laughter is one of the best medicines that we can have.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I just can't say thank you enough. And Olika says thank you to us both.
Yolika.
And um, and so let's see if I could do this right. So until next time, choose life.